Hello, I'm over by my bookshelf here, and if you remember, we kind of did a clean my bookshelf video. If I remember, I'll link it down below if you're interested in seeing it. But today, when we switched, okay, that'll be a long story. Let me just kind of get to the chase. Basically, I have one shelf here that I thought would be so much fun to share with you, especially if you enjoy Christian fiction books. So what this shelf is from about, I think I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, from about here to here. Okay, it's all in the film, all in the frame. From about here to here, these are all books that I have been collecting over time, and they are all of the books that I enjoyed reading as a teen. And so now I kind of want to reread them. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of share with you what they are. So I tried to start reading this again, but it was just a really hard month and it was too much for me. But this is My Hands Came Away Red by Lisa McKay. I remember the impact this left me. This is about a church group that goes to Indonesia, I believe, or remote island in Indonesia, and what happens there is just devastating and life-changing for these teens, young adults, and just everything that they thought was going to be beautiful and true about fulfilling their purpose as a missionary and all the stuff. Like they come home and they're like having to work through a lot of scars and a lot of things, and this just impacted me so much, and I want to reread it and kind of see what I think of it today. Sophie's Heart by Laurie Wick. This is definitely dated, and I talked briefly about this in like the 5 books, my top 5 favorite of all time books. So that I will leave linked down below for you to check out. But I love this one because Sophie just has a genuineness about her that is wrapped up into her life. And as a teen, I reread this countless times. I don't know how many times I reread this. It seemed like once a month I would pick it up and reread it, just because I wanted to have her spirit. I wanted to have her love and genuineness and patience with the kids as they dealt with their grief over the loss of their mom, and now somebody stepping in that their dad is falling in love with. I love everything about this book. Laurie Wick writes some really, really good ones, and then some are just kind of, they follow a formula, is what I think. I really loved Sophie's Heart. I love Pretense, which is about 2 sisters. One becomes a Christian and the one does not, and it's just this journey of the one that chooses her way of not becoming a Christian and basically kind of cutting those out of her life that do, and just what that did to her. And it was very impactful. The other Laurie Wick book, there's actually 2 in this series of 4 that I really enjoy. This one's To Know Her by Name, and it's about Pup Jennings, and I'm pretty sure, yes, Pup Jennings, who is basically a detective undercover, a spy, a detective, like a Pinkering type of person, and she just is so much fun. And this is hysterical. It is a Christian romance, and there really isn't much of a mystery here, but it's just one of those fun, lighthearted, pick me up books. And then the other one that I like in this series is To Know Her by Name, Where the Wild Rose Blooms, I think is what it is, and it's about a red-headed lady that goes blind and just the bitterness that she takes on, and then how much she has to start letting go, and it's just beautiful. So those are other 2 that I really enjoyed. Again, I talked about this one in my top 5 books of all times. This is the one that I read that impacted me most, I think, as a teen, because, well, I named my daughter after the main character. And the main character is just a tomboy. She is so lighthearted and just fun, but after hearing her more debutante sister talk about what an embarrassment she is, and just her trying to fit in and then realizing she just doesn't, but then runs in, or saves a little boy, and through that, like, her whole character just transforms. She still stays true to who she is, if you want to call it that. I think that's the terminology today we use. She still stays true to the essence of her, but she matures in a way that is godly and pleasing, and it's such a beautiful book. Okay, so I have the first one on my cart to read next month, actually, but The Secret of the Rose series by Michael Phillips. This is a World War II saga, I guess, because there's like 4 books, and it starts with World War II, but then it goes through the Wall of Berlin, and it just follows this family and what the secret of the rose is that just keeps this family together for a long time. That's all I can really remember of this. Again, it's another one that I remember reading a lot of, but I don't remember it as much as I thought. So I'm kind of looking forward to reliving that. Another one, I think I read this most of all when I became a new wife, because there is a character in here that deals with depression. And as a new wife with somebody that has clinical depression, it was a helpful book for me in just relating and understanding the character. But The Widow it's her story of, again, trying not to become bitter over what her husband has done, but learning to rebuild her life after he pretty much destroyed everything. And just these characters that come into her boarding house and how they all help her in her walk with the Lord and all of that. And it's just a beautiful story. And there's actually, I think there's 4 of them. So there's The Widow of Larkspur Inn, The Courtship of the Vicar's Daughter, which I liked because she's not like a typical vicar's daughter, and so she constantly gets into trouble. And then The Dowry of Miss Lydia Clark. And then I don't ever remember reading this one, and as you can see, the cover, of course, is different than the rest, which, oh well. But this is The Jewel of Gresham Green, which I believe is the 4th book to this, but I don't remember that at all. So, another set that I really enjoyed. These ones are hysterical. So this is the first one. This is Finders Keepers by Katherine Palmer. So think Chip and Joanna Gaines. Actually, no, that's this one. Excuse me. This one starts off with our main character owns a antique shop, and she has adopted son from the Dominican Republic, and there is something to do with this mansion in the background. Somebody that was very dear to her has died, and the main man is going to basically just, I think, either tear apart the mansion and use it for a new building site, or he's selling it to somebody that will do that. And she's just kind of fighting for it. Like, don't you realize the legacy that your grandmother left you? And all of that. And it's a Christian romance type of book, but I really enjoyed it. And then the sequel is basically, well, how do I do this without spoiling anything? But we now have Darcy, I think her name is. Okay, I remember Darcy. I don't remember the name of this gal. Elizabeth. I remember Darcy. Elizabeth, Darcy. Okay, I should have remembered those. Anyway, Darcy comes to town after getting out of prison for supposedly killing her husband, I believe. Killing her husband or being abusive to her husband or something. But anyway, she comes and pretty sure it's killing her husband. Shoot. Anyway, she comes to town looking for a job. She's able to find it helping this young father and daughter who has just lost their mother. And the daughter is just really, again, missing the mom. And then the husband is grieving and she needs a job. And so she's like, can I work for you? I have nothing but what's in this paper bag. That's all that's left to my name. And it's just, the sparks fly, tensions rise, but it's like a Chip and Joanna Gaines type of reading, which is probably why I really enjoy Fixer Upper, because it reminds me of those books, which is a lot of fun. Time Lottery by Nancy Moser. So I remember this as there's 4 lottery tickets where you can go back in time and basically do something to fix the past. And it's what 4 people have chosen to do and what someone... well, I think you pretty much know right off the bat. But they're going to be transported back in time into an alternate reality, their alternate, armed with only hopes and dreams. And so I remember this one just kind of scaring the heck out of me. Just more in a contemplative kind of thing. So that's all I know about that. I finally found one copy for 25 cents. I found one copy of Last Light by Terry Blackstock. I loved this series way back in the day. I've read this so many times, but this is what happens when an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, basically wipes out electricity for the world, and how civilization basically is rebuilt and what it looks like for contemporary today. So yeah, think about everything that we rely on for electricity, even so much as water, which I did not know until this book. I did not know that we relied on electricity for water. And then the last 3, I just did these in a haul, but this is the Stonewick Legacy. And then I need to get the first 3, which is just the Stonewick trilogy, before I can get into this. But it's by Michael Phillips, and I like him, but I don't remember anything about that, other than they're just part of my childhood that I want to reread. So that's going to be it for this video, and I hope that was fun for you to see. These books over here are books that I have read, except for these 2. Well, I have read this one. But Stories That Bind Us was really enjoyable. I know I did a video on that. Kitchen Front, I know I've talked about this. Gentleman in Moscow, one of my favorite. Me and my husband. My husband really enjoyed that too, which we don't always agree. I have a copy of Lonesome Gods, probably my first Louis L'Amour book I have ever read. And that one was really fun. Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. Basically I think it's called epistolary, where it's all told through letters to his son when a pastor is on his deathbed. Last Days of Night by Grant Moore. This is the story of the Westingate... Oh gosh, I always get this messed up. Westingate or Westinghouse? Westinghouse and Edison, their lawsuit, the first lawsuit of who invented the light bulb. And basically one lawyer, young lawyer, who basically not just revolutionized or made history with this lawsuit, but also how he changed how lawyers work. And that's based off of true events. The Bells of New Cheltenham by Shatona Havig. If you don't know how to say it, this is Shatona Havig. I know, she's my mom. I know how to say it. This story is the story of a man that's afraid of ghosts, and he has to write a ghost story, I believe. Nope, this is not the one. Oh, I think it's the second one. Anyway, this is just a Christmas story. So this is part of the series that Shatona wrote about back in the Victorian times. On Christmas Eve, they told ghost stories. That's how, like, Christmas Carol came about, the chimes for the New Year and all of that. And so this is kind of goes along with that. Let me reread that. I read that like just before we moved, and it's all a blur. And then Ghostboy, which is about the albino Africans that are hunted down for witchcraft. Very moving story. Very, that one stays with you forever. So that's going to be the shelf. This shelf I am working on, and it's mainly of books that I have really loved, enjoyed, rereads, and then that's pretty much it. The next 2 shelves are just books that I need to read and get to, and all of that. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video was fun. If it was, leave a comment in the section, leave a comment down below and let me know. Especially, have any of you read any of these? What are some of your favorite memories of reading those? Because they're pretty dated. So, and until next time, have another cup of coffee and read another chapter.